We have Donna Tonovitz. Did I say it correct?
You did.
Okay,
yes.
and she is from Country Financial. She's going to fill us in on all things that she does, things you may not know you need, services that she offers. And she's looking beautiful, gorgeous this morning.
I am underdressed. I feel so self-conscious right now.
I am too. I got up this morning. It was so chilly. I'm like, what am I going to wear? I'm putting on my Beans Farm sweatshirt. Beans Farm. Hold on. Beans Farm. All your mulch needs.
Before we get into your business, because, we're going to hit a break.
We're going to get up in your business. All right.
Because we're going to hit a break in just a minute. But I want to know, do you have any superstitions?
Oh, well, as a kid, we always like the superstition to like step on the line.
Oh yeah,
step on a crack
or you'll break your mother's back.
Yeah. Yes. So we used to do, my sister. Sorry,
it's okay.
Like not used to this.
It's okay.
But yeah, my sisters and I would do that, and then so I will tell you a funny thing. So growing up, I was always short, crazy stuff, and my sister told me that if I ate cheese, it would make my grow, and I did. I ate a lot, my lady bits, and I ate cheese because I honestly thought it would work.
Anybody else have any of those? That's a good one. And does she still laugh about that to this day?
To this day, she still laughs.
So now, do you think of it every time you bite into cheese?
I do. And then I just want to call her up and go, what did you do to me? Because now I do love cheese.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so funny.
It's a good thing you weren't lactose intolerant or anything like that.
Yeah, there's that.
All right. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's the step on a crack, break your mother's back. And then there's days when you're mad at mom.
You just get stomp on every one of them. Yeah.
Mom, you're going to get it now because I'm stepping on every crack.
I might be grounded, but I'll show you.
I'll show you.
Right.
So you see what you've walked into this morning?
Yeah,
I tell you what. Happy Monday.
Happy Mondays indeed. Well, okay. So having gotten you off, and we're already initiating you into the madness that is the morning show. What we're going to do is we're going to take another quick break. This is our last break, last hard break of the morning. You get the whole next half hour. We're going to talk about you.
Okay.
Want to talk about your business. Want to hear more about your morning routine.
Oh.
Tell me how I can get my morning started a little better.
Okay.
So that we can look like this.
Oh, goodness.
Yes,
Like
first thing in the morning.
Again, I'm feeling great. Folks, if you're not watching in the YouTube page, I am incredibly underdressed right now. Had I known this was going to happen, I probably would have worn a collared shirt.
Not as underdressed as David T's in his Cheez-It pajama pants and mallard duck slippers.
Yeah, we're not in our pajamas, but you can catch a picture of that on the WRMN Facebook page. So we'll see more of that. We'll be back after this break and talk about the insurance, what we need. All right, folks, thanks for joining us this morning. WRMN 1410 AM, we're the morning show.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan. Brought to you by Wendy's. Families are invited to celebrate the grand opening of the reimagined kids space at Gail Borden Public Library's main branch in downtown Elgin, taking place Tuesday, May 13th from 10:30 a.m. until noon. The celebration will showcase the exciting new play areas at the library. Elgin is pushing forward on its ambitious lead pipe replacement program, aiming to upgrade another 1,000 homes this year at a projected cost of $16.5 million. Since launching the initiative 3 years ago, the city has already replaced 2,500 lead water service lines. At the Kane County Judicial Center, Law Day was marked by the announcement of this year's Law Day essay contest winners. Students from area high schools, including Illinois Math and Science Academy in Aurora and St. Edward Central Catholic High School in Elgin, were awarded cash prizes and certificates for essays centered on the theme, The Constitution's Promise, Out of Many, One. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Credan.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Let me tell you a story about Bill. Bill was a normal guy in his 50s. He had back surgery about 2 years ago. Bill was in a lot of pain. He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. Today, partly sunny with a high near 81, temperatures falling to around 79 in the afternoon, and windy conditions with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Tonight, isolated rain showers between 7 p.m. and 1 a.m., then isolated showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 61. Currently, it is 59 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You're back. We're back. It's the WRMN Morning Show on WRMN 1410 AM.
And welcome back to the WRMN AM 1410 Morning Show with me, Susie C., and my trusty sidekick and co-host, Elliot the L Train Serrano, on this beautiful Monday morning. It is 8:35, and it is Small Business Monday, and we need to switch cameras so we can see our beautiful co-host. So on Small Business Monday, if you guys haven't been here on a Monday, which I'm sure you all have been, we try to spotlight one small business every Monday and find out like everything we can about them. So this is Donna Tonovitz. Did I say it right? Okay.
Did.
And she's with Country Financial. And I know everybody goes, ooh, insurance, or ooh, there's so much more to it. I know insurance isn't exciting, but there's so much more. So how long have you been with Country Financial or in this business?
So I started in this business when I was 16 years old.
Seriously?
I did, yes. So I started with Country Financial. It was, you know, back in the day when they did an office education program and you got to go to work, go to school half a day and then work the other half. So you got to make money and still get your credits for the class. So I did that with the office education program that they had at St. Charles High School. And then I found a job at Country Financial. So I was an office assistant for, I believe at that time there were probably like 15 agents in that one office.
Wow.
And it was very, very cool to learn how to, you know, answer the phone. I was in typing, do changes. I learned so much with that position and then just worked my way up.
That's awesome. So you've been doing it for quite a bit. So for those don't like, with your it's not just insurance. There's a lot of financial help. We'll start with insurance, but what do you suggest is the most important to have? I mean, obviously we have to have car insurance, we have to have home or renters.
Yeah.
But are there certain things that you really just go, this is what everybody needs?
Yes, I think in today's society, I think a lot of people need to have an umbrella policy
Mm-hmm.
that goes along with the auto and home. So it's an excess policy. Usually you get $1 million or you can get $2 million. It's really going to depend on what your assets are. So we would have to sit down and go through your auto, your home. It's like a full, we're building it up from the foundation up.
Okay.
So we look at the auto, we look at the home, the umbrella is in excess. So let's just say you have a car accident.
Okay.
And your limits of liability are 250,000 / 500. So it's 250,000 per person, 500,000 per occurrence. Once you exceed that, then they can go after you personally for any damages. So an umbrella policy, we just call it the excess policy. So you can get $1 million, $2 million, just depends on your financial need. So we would look at that, and then if you exceed that, then the umbrella takes over. And then they can't come after, well, they could, but it helps eliminate a lot of issues with coming after your personal assets. So an umbrella is probably one of the most undersold policies that we have out there, and it's inexpensive. I mean, I think it's worth it.
See, and I haven't heard anybody talk about an umbrella in a long time. I remember back in the day hearing a lot about it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that you as the listeners should look into if you don't already have it. And what about, I know we don't talk about that a lot, but what about life insurance? What is it better? Is it, I know it's per individual or what you're looking for, but there's so many things out there. Well, what do you suggest?
So everybody, it's all on an individual basis. So, I would sit down with the client. We would do a needs analysis and see exactly what they need, how much they need. And also it comes down to, what amount, what are you looking for to take care of this need? What budget-wise, what are you comfortable with paying a month? So I always ask people, what do you want to pay a month for that need? And then we kind of work from there. But we also have to figure out, what do you want it to do?
Right.
Do you want it to pay off your home? Do you want it to pay off, your credit cards, your debit cards, or not debit cards, sorry, your credit cards, your, school for your child? Do you want to give your spouse your income for a certain amount of time? Is it going to be 1 year? Do you want to give them 10 years of your income? It really is going to depend on, are you the breadwinner of the family? But even a stay-at-home mom, they need life insurance too, because imagine, the spouse that stays home, the other spouse is going to have to start doing those things, and we forget how much a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad does.
Yeah, and I think insurance is one of those things that it's last on the list. You'd rather go to Starbucks 3 times a week than, you know what I mean? I think it's just insurance to me is it's not one of those, woohoo,
Right.
insurance, woo, financial planning.
It's not tangible.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
And so speaking of Starbucks, so a lot of times I ask clients, do you go to Starbucks? And they'll say, yeah, I go to Starbucks. I go, twice a week. Right. And I say, well, what do you spend a week? So let's say they say I spend $20 a week. That's $80 a month.
On coffee.
On coffee. You can buy life insurance for $80 a month.
Right.
And wouldn't you like to take care of your family, your loved ones, in the event that something happens to you and you don't come home? So I always say, what would you want that last paycheck to look like for your family if, God forbid, something happens to you and you don't make it home?
And it does happen. Things do happen. So that's really smart to be prepared. And what about on the financial side? So would it be considered financial planning?
Yeah.
What part of the financial area do you work with?
So we do 401ks, we do Roth IRAs, we do traditional IRAs, and we do annuities. And that also is individually based. So depending on what someone's need is, we help them with whatever that is. And if they left a job and they have a 401k sitting somewhere, with their old employer, why is it still sitting there? Why not?
Well, a lot of times you have to get it out of there if you're not an employee because you can't keep adding to it. So I would go to someone like you and say, hey, I have X amount of dollars in my 401k. Where's the best place I put it?
Yes, and we would do a risk allocation to see where you fall, and then from there we would come up with a plan. and see what would be in your best interest, because everybody is so different.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone. And so even like my son, he's 21 now, but he has been working for a long time. He's already got a Roth IRA.
Smart.
And it's so important that these kids start young because, put that money away. You're not even going to miss it.
Oh, yeah.
Not miss it at all.
When I worked for Jewel and I first started, I think it was like about 20, maybe 23, 25. And they offered 401k. And then I was like, ew, what do I need to do that for? But I did. I put like, I don't know, the minimum, which I think was like 6-7% of my measly part-time paycheck. But, 55 comes really quickly. You don't realize it. And I know so many people my age that have nothing. They're still living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying. And that's, there's many reasons that could happen. Your own frivolous spending, life events. I mean, I'm not shaming anybody, but that's terrifying to be, especially like for me, 61, I'd be like, oh my gosh, living paycheck to paycheck. So you can help people plan to not end up like that.
Yeah. We just, like I said, everybody is individual. So it's hard to, come on here and say, okay, you need this, you need that.
Right.
So
You'd have to sit.
We have to sit down, and it's usually a, 2 appointment process, because the first one is going to be just information gathering.
Right.
And then we're going to come up with a plan for each individual. So, I enjoy doing that. And I have a manager that manages all of us agents in the area, and he is wonderful. He will sit down and help us and go through stuff, because sometimes it's nice to have a, second set of eyes on it. And then we have a team down in our Bloomington office that is phenomenal, and they help us throughout the whole process.
Well, and people want to feel, that they trust you and they feel secure, because it's their money.
100%.
And it's what they could return or what they need it for. So that's really interesting. What's your favorite part? What do you like doing the most? Like, what do you go to work and go, oh, I hope I could do another one of these today?
I like every part of it. I mean, I've been doing it for so long, and I really enjoy, sitting down with my clients and going through their policies. I do annual reviews with my clients. I like to do
That's
annual
so
reviews.
smart. A lot of places don't do that.
Some of my clients don't want to meet me every year, but I would like to meet every year. But if they want to do every 2 years, because life happens and life changes. So to sit down and go through and, review their auto policy, review their home policy, are the kids in college now? What do we need to do for you today, to plan for the future? So I like to sit down and just review everything, because it's just, we have so many moving parts in our life.
Oh, yeah.
That, just to know, okay, did you finish your basement? Did you add a pool in the backyard? I mean, those are things that we don't think about when it comes to insurance. And we need to know that as, fiduciaries and financial agents for them. We need to know what have you done? Because we're not there every day.
Right.
So, and the only time we hear from, a client is, to pay
When
a bill
something
or
happens.
when something happens.
Typically.
And I don't like to, be surprised, but I also want to make sure my clients are taken care of.
Well, I say you want to make sure they're covered if they do make changes to their home, or they do a new car, adding a driver. There's so many things that they need to make sure that they've let you know so they stay covered.
Yes.
And you don't want to get caught short.
Well, exactly. And then adding a driver. So that's another one. So like adding a youthful driver, I think a lot of clients, they get sticker shocked when they see the price when we add a youthful driver. I know I did when I added my son.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's expensive. So I always, make sure your kids, if they get the good student discount, if they get a beer better, send me the grades, because that saves a couple $100 every 6 months.
That's a lot of
huge.
savings too.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Especially because boys cost a whole lot more to insure.
They do.
Take your pedal off the metal, boys. Or metal up.
Pedal off the metal.
I knew what I meant, but so whatever.
So if you have questions for our guests, the studio line is 847-931-1410, 847-931-1410. If you have questions about financial planning and insurance, I'm sure our guests would love
Come
to
on, give
answer
Donna a call.
Donna's here. Donna, I want to ask, though, in your experience, have you encountered things that I guess we would interpret as cautionary tales? Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened to these folks. Had they done this, this, and this, they could have avoided it. Maybe something where, now we can tell our listeners, hey, this happened to so-and-so. we don't want this to happen to you?
So I would say, the reviewing with your agent is so important because, I've had a client, I'll give an example. I had a client who had a fire, and, that is the worst because you don't really remember everything that you have. At a time of an accident, it's so traumatic. I mean, we pray that no one, lost a life, but, you're not going to remember every single thing. So one of the things that I tell all my clients is, walk around your house, take pictures or do a video, do something so that in the event that something does happen, you will remember everything that you have in your house. Because we're not going to remember.
Well, your adrenaline kicks in and you don't. Do you have, so for you or do you have like, God forbid something happened, do you have like a checklist of what do you do? Like, I know talking to Jenny Ruth, when we talked about the emergency construction services, she's like, yeah, we kind of have a checklist of top to bottom, who do you call first? So for someone like you, is there, we've had this catastrophic event, we've had a car accident, is there like, obviously you first, but is there, a thing, what's the best way to go about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So if it's a car accident, the biggest thing I do, especially when I sit down with my youthful drivers, because, they're so new to all of this. So when I sit down with them, I let them know, first and foremost, always call the police. Because everybody's story is going to change once you walk away.
Yep.
So always call the police department, have the police come out, take a report. If there's any witnesses, make sure you get their information because you don't want it to become hearsay when it comes to going to court. I had this situation happen to my son. So I had to remind him, don't just call me, call the police.
Right.
Have them come out. Take pictures of the vehicles in the position of the accident. Now cars have cameras all around and stuff, but my son's older vehicle does not have that. So, just take pictures and, just make sure you talk to the police, talk to the witnesses, get the insurance information. That is so important. And then when it's, on a home, it's a completely different thing, depending on what it is. If you've got, water damage, you have, a fire, there's so many things that can happen. A theft. There's so many things, make sure that you call me so then I can help you. And my clients have my cell number.
Oh, that's very nice.
I have a lot call me. I have a lot text me. It's important that, they're able to reach me, especially in a time of need. When the tornado went and hit through Coal City.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I had a client they called me right away and, we had somebody out there ASAP for them. It wasn't a big dog and pony where we put up big tents or anything like this.
Right.
Country Financial was out there and they took care of it right away. And our clients were one of the first back in their home before anybody.
Oh, that's amazing. That's good to know. Very good to know.
Yeah.
When we were off air, we were talking about the May the 4th bit.
Yes.
What brilliant marketing that is. People buying like Star Wars merchandise. Now, speaking to that, there are folks who have sizable collections of that sort of thing.
Oh yes.
Good question.
And I have to admit, I'm kind of one of those people who has like a sizable collectibles accumulation.
Right.
What will you say about folks like that who have like not just
art collections,
Jewelry.
not just what would you say? Is there anything special people should do when it comes to insuring their collectibles of that type?
Yes, good question, and thank you for bringing that up. Yes, so it's not automatically covered on the homeowner's policy. So what we do is for jewelry, for collectibles, comic books, all of those type of things, we schedule those on the home policy for the client, and then we would just need an appraisal to go with that or description. Because I have clients that have, guitars, guns, you name it, they have it. And so we schedule those. We have some antique guns and, good antique guitars, those type of things. We have to have a description of it. And then we also have to have the value of it and with an appraisal.
Now, do you work with, because let's just say I had a gun collection. I don't know who I would go to for an appraisal, or like your Star Wars, do you work with appraisers that you could go, hey, I've got somebody that's got, maybe want to give them a call?
I do. And, I have a one lady who is also a client of mine. She does appraisals on jewelry. I've got others that know comic books. St. Charles has, where my office is located, there are some places downtown St. Charles that do that as well.
Oh, see, that's interesting.
I mean, if you need someone to appraise things, I mean, I'm happy to come in and go, okay, I know how much that's worth. I know how much that's worth. I'll sign off on all that. By the way, I wouldn't keep that. That's not worth anything.
You should just sell it to me.
I'll just
I knew right where you were going.
I think you and my cousin would get along very well.
You'll have to have a meet and they could talk all things Star Wars.
All Star Wars.
All
That's
things
funny.
geekdom.
There's so much out there.
There is.
Do we have any calls?
Not yet, but again, I want to remind folks that you can call us at 847-931-1410. You can text your questions to. I know some folks can be really shy. 505-926-1410. And of course, we are keeping an eye on the YouTube page for your commentary. So I have an issue. I want to look into this. My question is, and this has been that, because you talk about financial planning. There's been a lot of talk about the stock market and how people are losing money in the stock market. What's been your experience with that as far as with your clients?
To be honest with you, I have not had a lot calling me and complaining because, we all know that it's going to be up and down.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're just, we have to wait a little bit. We have to see what's going to happen. I mean, the new administration is brand new. So we have to kind of wait it out and see, where it's going to be. Because if you look at it every day, I mean, we're all going to be going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So,
no, that's what all my friends are like. I just lost $10,000 today. I'm like, I'd be going nuts if that.
But you didn't have it in your hand to begin with. So,
Right.
it's like, I hate to be that way, but I remember the old crash of 08.
Oh, yes.
And I lost a whole lot of money but I didn't have it. I mean, I was really sad, but I also didn't have it in my hands.
And you weren't ready to retire either.
No.
So
I'm still not ready.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Yeah, no.
That's going to be a long time. Plus, I have a kid to finish college.
Yeah.
But how about those folks who are getting ready to retire? Any advice that you would give the folks like that?
You know what? I would just have them come in and we would have to sit down and revisit where they're at. And maybe we need to do a asset allocation. So we would have to sit down and we would really have to see everybody's individual needs and go from there because everybody's is so different. So, it's hard. This is a hard one to really get deep into unless it's a client that's in my office and we're sitting there and I can go through all of that with them.
And renter's insurance, how important. I know a lot of people renting homes, renting apartments, and you always hear on TV, get your renter's insurance.
Yes.
How important is renter's insurance? And being that you're renting, how do you figure out how much coverage you need? I know there's no formula we can't go into, but how do you come up with all right, what do you got? How do we cover this?
Oh, for sure. So that's huge too, because a lot of people don't think about renter's insurance. And, if an apartment complex burns down or whatever, I mean, your contents are not covered unless you carry that renter's insurance. So I tell everybody, take your apartment or your house, whatever you're renting, shake it upside down. Everything that falls out, let's come up with a value for that.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people don't even think about that because even like in a fire, when I'm going through a homeowner's policy or renters, we're looking at the personal property and they'll see, $300,000. Well, they'll go, that's way too much. I don't have that much. I'm like, well, let's kind of narrow this down. You go into your kitchen. Let's take everything that you have in your cabinets, take that out, your pots, your pans, your silverware, everything that you have, all of that adds up. When my son moved into his apartment at college, I was just like, oh my gosh, everything's so expensive. It's been a while since I've had to do all that.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. So I just say, let's kind of go through it. We just kind of guesstimate, at what they have. I mean, I would say at least minimum 50,000 because you got to look at your couches, your chairs, your bedroom.
Well, because with a fire, even if the fire wasn't in your apartment necessarily, the smoke, the water, and that stuff, you don't get that smoke out.
No.
That all has to be. I remember the first time I got renter's insurance, it was years ago, but I remember when they told me it would be like $9 a month added on to mine. I was like, wait, how much?
It's very inexpensive.
It was not expensive, and I was like, sign me up.
It's less than the coffee.
It is less than the coffee. And that's, I know so many people renting. And the other thing I know, I had gotten, so I live in an RV.
Oh, good for you.
I love it. And I had gotten my insurance policy and I went through it and I was getting ready to switch it over to somebody. And I realized that my personal property, I only had $800.
Oh.
Because we didn't talk about it. And I think that's why I'm bringing it up. Really talk to your agent.
Yes,
So when I switched, they were like, well, what do you want to up it to? And I'm like, oh, give me like 80,000. I mean, I don't have, and it didn't increase my policy huge, but I think I was more shocked because I guess I hadn't had that conversation. And if something would have happened, I'm like, $800, that's not even gonna be like rent to move into a place till I get things recouped.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where I was going, was really talk to the person you're working with and ask the questions and make sure that your questions are answered. And if you're not sure, ask again, because it is important.
It's so important. I 100% think it is, because even young kids, I tell them, at least, even if you don't have a lot, at least get 20,000. Something to cover your clothes, especially these, young girls, they've got nice clothes.
Yeah.
Cover your clothes. I mean, we want to make sure that everything, we want to put you back whole if something happens.
And you want it to go as smooth as possible. 100%. You don't want all the bumps like, oh, I didn't know I needed that, or, oh, I wish I would have had that, or, oh, darn, by talking to someone like you, very thorough, and you go top to bottom. Here's the questions, here's the answers, and then we can work together.
Yeah, I go line by line through the policy for everyone.
That's awesome. Well, I think we're getting close, right?
Yeah. So how can folks get in touch with you?
They can call me at 630-549-7694. And my office is in St. Charles. I'm at 1750 East Main Street, Suite 90. I'm right next to Heinz Nursery.
Nice. And we'll put all that up on the Facebook page. So if there's anything you need, we got a girl. We got a girl. So thanks for joining us on day 6 with Elliot the L Train and day 51 with Susie C on the WRN Morning Show, AM 1410. And have a great rest of your morning.
Have a great rest of your morning, folks.